So today we are going to discuss the basic architecture of a computer. This is a very simplified diagram just to give you a basic idea, but we can learn a lot of concepts from here. In a computer, the central part is what is called our central processing unit. Okay, as we discussed that a computer does four things, right? It takes input, it stores it processes it, and it produces output. Okay, so therefore a computer must have parts to facilitate each one of these tasks. Let's begin with the central part, with the processing part. Okay, the processing part is called the CPU, or the central processing unit. In essence, it has many things, but we will divide into three parts. One is the control unit, which has something called a program counter. Okay, this basically controls what instruction to execute next. Okay, and the instruction is actually executed inside a circuit called the ALU, or the arithmetic logic unit. Okay, and all the instructions that are executed inside a CPU, they are executed on some information which we call data, right? The data that has gone in input to that program. Okay, now all the data that the ALU works upon must be stored inside the processor itself in a region called registers. So it is just like a memory, small memory inside the processor itself. Okay, so the processor works on these only. So any input and output must happen to these registers, and later on we will see how the data from registers can move to different parts of a computer. There is also something called L1, L2 or L3 cache, which is built on top of these modern processors, and there are some other modern processors have like thermal circuitry and security chip and so many other things, encryption logic, so many other things are built on top of that, but we will not bother about that right now. We will focus on the basic parts over here. Okay, so that is our CPU. Okay, and where is our program stored actually? So let us see, you are working on a computer, and this is a screen you are seeing. On the screen you have something called a Windows Explorer open. Okay, and in the Windows Explorer you are looking at many files. One of the file is, say, lecture.mp4. We all know that it is a video file, and you take that mouse and double click on this lecture.mp4. Now where is this lecture.mp4 file stored? One way said it's stored in memory, but there are different types of memory in a computer. We will come to that, and one of the lessons of the discussion of this architecture of a computer would be to actually understand why there is memory hierarchy in a computer. Okay, so this lecture.mp4 is stored probably on your hard disk drive. Okay, now this hard disk drive is a permanent storage. Permanent storage meaning that even if there is no power, you have turned off the computer, still hard disk drive will store the data. It will not get erased once the power has gone off. The data will be there. Once written, it will be there till you actually erase it. All right, and then this file lecture.mp4 is stored there, but we are using another thing. We are looking at this information on a monitor. Okay, whereas this mouse pointer is visible on the monitor, but it is controlled by a device called a mouse. On that we double click. Okay, so when we double click on a mouse, there has to be some way for a computer to detect, okay, you have clicked on a file called this file is stored in this hard disk drive, but a computer will not be able to play this file directly from hard disk drive. Okay, it has to get this file from hard drive to the main memory. Okay, anything that you actually process through a computer must go through this main memory. Without this, the computer will not be able to do anything. We will soon see why is that the scenario. Okay, so this file moves through this storage controller. And why we have this storage controller, it is like, you know, we have so many things, so many different types of storages, and so rather than the processor handling everything, there is this special circuitry called the storage controller that handles all my storage devices. Okay, this storage controller will take this, you know, this file, and through this bus is just, you know, wires on a computer. These wires are the electrical signals are going through this wire, right? So the file will go through here, and through the memory interface it will go inside the main memory. Okay, and then an instruction will be loaded in the control unit to play that video file from the main memory. Okay, that instruction when executed will fetch that file from the main memory and will process it, whatever processing is required, and it will just detect that this has to be converted into some display information, an image or a series of images that will be passed to the display controller, and display controller will display the video on the monitor. Okay, so that video will come over there. All right, so in essence what we have learned till now: one, all data that must be processed should reside in RAM or main memory. Okay, the full form of RAM is random access memory. Why it is called random access? Random means I can pick any location and I can either write to it or read to it without flipping pages. Suppose I ask you, write letter A on fifth page of your notebook, you will have to flip the fifth page, right? So this is a notebook and you will be flipping page 1, page 2, page 3, and then you will be writing. But in main memory it is not like that. It can directly write to any portion inside this main memory. Therefore it is called random access memory, and it is both read write, but it is volatile. That means once I turn off the computer, so if computer is off, power off, if power is off, this memory is also gone. Anything if is stored in this memory is lost. Okay, so it's a volatile memory compared to your hard disk drive or a solid state drive or a CD drive, which is a permanent storage over there. Okay, so that is lesson number one. Lesson number two, that inside CPU, all data the ALU works on, whether to read or write, must be on registers. Okay, it must go through these registers only. Okay, third thing we saw was that the control unit, it decides what instruction to execute next. Where are these instructions stored? Again, these instructions are stored in the main memory of a computer. One by one these will be fetched into the control unit. Again the instruction will be stored on the register, and then the the data also will be stored in the registers, and that instruction will be executed. Data will be outputted to the register, and then data will be returned back to the main memory, and so on. This thing keeps happening over and over again. So in general, for all operations in a computer are of these types. One, read or write from main memory, right? Second is actually, do some instruction like add, multiply, subtract, or whatever. And finally, IO, which we call input or output. Okay, so these are the basic things that are happening inside a computer. All right, so this is our basic architecture of a computer. Now we see that there are so many different type of memories here. We have what we saw, we have our registers, right? And we have our random access memory. Then we have our hard disk drive and the solid state drive and things like that. Okay, so we have so many different types of memory over there. Why there are different types of memory, let us try to get some sense of that in this, or get understand what is this memory hierarchy. To get that understanding, let us understand on what rate the CPU is working. So the CPU usually works in gigahertz. That means it can process say 10 to the power 9 operations per second, or these many instructions it can execute per second. But as we know that in order to execute an instruction, what it has to do, so to execute an instruction, first thing it has to fetch the instruction from the main memory to the register, right? Second, it has to fetch instruction, it has to fetch the data from the memory, it has to perform the operation, it has to output the result of that operation into the register, and fifth, it has to copy or write the result from register to the memory, right? These things have to happen in order for this processor to perform these instructions. Okay, so now that the processor has to do that, this memory should be able to perform at this speed. Okay, we should be able to read and write to this memory at this rate, then only the processor will be fast enough. Otherwise it will be processor is asking, hey, give me some data, and memory is saying wait. So in essence, what is happening, our processor is becoming very slow. Even though it is fast, it is not being used. Okay, so therefore registers are very fast, they work at the speed of the CPU. So CPU trusts these registers very well, but these are very expensive to manufacture. They are very expensive. We only have few registers, 10 or 15 or 20 registers inside a CPU. Each register can hold very little amount of data. But nowadays we see memory like in GB, 4 GB RAM or 16 GB RAM, something like that, right? We see memory in gigabytes. To have that many gigabyte of register, it will cost many thousands of dollars. So it is very expensive. So main memory is order of magnitude slower. So fastest is register. Then we have RAM. RAM is much slower, right? Maybe 10 times slower than the register, 6 to 10 times slower. Then comes our solid state drive, which is further say from CPU speed. If we compare, it will be 20 to 30 times slower. Then comes your hard disk drive, which will be 100 times slower. Okay, so this is the memory hierarchy. Okay, so if we go across this memory hierarchy, what we will see is that, let me write it again vertically. So we have registers, we have random access memory, we have your solid state drive, we have your hard disk drive. Okay, your speed improves, your cost also improves. So we cannot manage to have everything as register nor everything as RAM. Further, register and RAM are volatile, and all the permanent storage devices that we have are slower. So therefore there is this memory hierarchy. To maintain cost, we have to keep our data in our permanent storage, which are slower. Then we put them inside this memory, and then from memory we bring it fast. So what we do is, very big file, we will transfer quite a big portion, quite a big chunk into the main memory, because main memory is big enough. Then from that, small parts will come to the register, get executed. Okay, then there are these cache memory which are little bit between register and main memory, their speed, and they also store some information here in order to make the entire thing faster for our computer to process. So this is the overall architecture of a computer. So we discussed this basic architecture and why memory hierarchy is there, which memory is fast, which memory is slow, right? And in the all these lessons, that all data must be processed, should reside in RAM. One, all permanent data is in peripheral storage. Okay, whatever data CPU processes must occur in the registers. And all operations on a computer are either memory read write or IO operations. Okay, so this is the architecture of a computer. I hope this gave you a good understanding. Thank you very much.